Greetings everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Captain Rye. If you're watching this video on the day that it's published, then please join me in a moment of remembrance. As 76 years ago today, the ship on your screen met her fate, and the United States was formally thrust into global conflict. Yes, that's right. Today marks the 76th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Now, while the Arizona at Pearl Harbor did unfortunately meet her fate, she is still available to play in the game, meeting combatants in the digital ocean. Here in World of Warships, the Arizona is a Tier 6 premium U.S. battleship. Now, her configuration is just as she would have appeared in 1941. So, if you're thinking about picking up this ship, do bear in mind that she does lack some of the anti-aircraft improvements that her counterparts at Tier 4, Tier 5, Tier 6, and Tier 7 all get as part of their regular hull upgrades. That's not to say, though, her anti-aircraft is terrible. It will deal with Tier 6 carriers reasonably well. In the game on your screen, as the battle gets underway, it's two brothers, it's standard battle mode, and it is a Tier 8 maximum game. Fortunately for me, the carriers in-game are Tier 6. So I don't have to worry about Tier 8 planes coming down and giving me a repeat of 76 years ago. The Arizona, even at bottom tier, can be a viable ship if you know what to target. Look for targets of opportunity, ships that are sailing broadside, and preferably cruisers. She gets 12 14-inch guns to play with here. And the accuracy on these guns is actually pretty good. In fact, it's just a little bit better than the accuracy on the New Mexico. Now, the New Mexico's guns and the Arizona's guns are not the same guns. In spite of what people will tell you, they are slightly different. You can think of them as kind of a in-between of the New York's guns and the New Mexico's guns. But that's not going to make much of a difference when you're shooting at Tier 8 battleships. However, what is going to make all the difference when you're in any game in this ship is its speed. The speed of this ship is just like any other US line. It's 20.5 knots. So, pre-planning where you're going to go, make sure that you put your ship in the direction it needs to go from the very start, or you're not going to have anything to shoot at. And given how slow the ship is, if you don't have anything to shoot at, you're going to have a bad time right off the bat, because you're too slow to go and catch any enemies, and you're also too slow to relocate. Speaking of relocating here, because of the speed, I am sitting in the back of the group here that's gone off to the west side of the map. That's not necessarily a bad thing for me, though, because it means that other friendly ships are more forward. They're taking the focus of attention, and it's allowing me to just kind of casually get shots off while I slowly meander towards the enemy's front lines. Initially here, as I got myself turned around, I was on fire for a little bit. Most of the damage that I took was all high explosive and fire damage, so I'm able to get that healed up. The Arizona, unlike the New Mexico, has a slightly thicker armor, especially on her bow, which means she is a little bit better at tanking damage. Not quite good enough to take, say, 15-inch shells from the Warspite bow on, but definitely good enough to tank regular 14-inch shells from anything equal tier, and even 16-inch shells if you're angled right. But you can see here, the Arizona, a very, very slow ship. She's slow to turn, slow to traverse her turrets, and slow to move in a straight line. Eventually, I am going to have to make my way towards the enemy, but I'm still trying to keep my options open as much as possible to determine where I need to go. As I mentioned, because of the speed, I have to decide which side of the map I want to be on. And right now, given that most of the enemy is on this side of the map, and the fact that they're pushing, it looks like this side of the map is where I'm going to stay. So you'll notice here that I'm sailing at an angle, but I'm also sailing away from the enemy. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, all of my guns are on this side of the ship, and because of the slow turret traverse, I want to keep all my guns on this side of the ship and not have to lose 50% of them by traversing around to another side. Number two, because I'm so slow, sailing away from these faster tier 8 ships as they approach me isn't actually a big deal, because they're actually closing the distance, and I can remain angled. Managed to secure my first kill. Really was a bit of a kill seal, but enemy New Mexico is out of the game. Now the enemy team started with a destroyer advantage, but you can see we've managed to kill one of their destroyers, so that means that the destroyer on both teams are currently equal. Now I do have to be careful because there was an enemy kid spotted over here, and he is going to pop up. I'm playing my Arizona with Concealment Expert on the ship, and you can see that with Concealment Expert, the ship has actually got a pretty small detection range. This is an advantage that a lot of US battleships actually have, that the detection range with Concealment Expert and later with the Concealment Module is actually pretty low for a battleship, allowing you to be sneakier and stealthier, get up close to your enemy and time your shots. You don't have to worry about taking shots that you don't necessarily want to take, simply because you're not detected, so you're not at risk of being killed before you take those shots. Now, I've got an Otago here. This Otago is broadside on. He's way out there. These may only be 14-inch guns, but against a broadside cruiser, they're actually pretty reasonable. Now that Otago, of course, he slammed on his brakes. He slowed down. I don't know if he's got priority target or not, if he knows I was targeting him, but he's going to make a vital mistake here. See, he's returning fire, and he's managed to hit me. Those 8-inch guns did do a reasonable amount of damage, but look at this. He stopped broadside onto me while he gets another shot off. My shots are almost reloaded, and you'll notice, though, I am being detected. This tells me that there's the enemy destroyer within detection range. I'm watching this Takao. The Takao is backing up. He's reversing there. So, shots off just a little bit behind his stern, and hopefully he'll sail right into them, and that's exactly what he did, with a nice citadel for my second kill. At this point, though, I haven't done a lot of damage, but I have been able to support my team over here by just putting out consistent fire, forcing cruisers and forcing battleships to mind their P's and Q's, keeping their bows pointed at me, lest they risk meeting the same fate as that Takao. There is the enemy kid who has popped up. Fortunately, the kid's only got one set of torpedoes, so I'm just going to go ahead and get a bunch of shells off there. Sometimes with the New Mexico, sometimes with the Arizona, US battleships can have really ridiculously good accuracy, and even armor piercing loaded on a ship against a destroyer like that at such close range can delete the enemy destroyer, even when they're full strength. But in this particular case, I was kind of hoping to get a bunch of over-penetrations and finish him off right there. However, no luck there. He's disappeared into a smokescreen, and I'm being detected by aircraft. Enemy Chapayev off in the distance there. He's actually rocking the Halloween camouflage as he sails away. At this point, my team has taken a significant advantage, as we currently have the destroyer advantage, having killed 2 of their destroyers. Well, we've lost one of our destroyers. I'm going to give us the advantage because we basically know where the other destroyer is and what he's up to. And we've taken the advantage as far as the teams list goes. Enemy team is currently down 6 ships to my team's 3. So now, at this point, you might be thinking to yourself, with the Arizona being such a slow ship, there's not much I can do anymore. Maybe I should consider going the other direction. And that's absolutely not what you should do. What I'm doing here is I'm just all ahead full in a nice straight line, because otherwise there's nothing for me to shoot at. Not only is there nothing for me to shoot at, but if I decided to turn around and head back to the base for any reason, because maybe I thought somebody was going up the channel, I would never get there in time, and then I would be out of position to continue shooting at enemy targets. So I'm just going to continue to sail in a nice straight line. The Arizona, here in World of Warships, as a premium, I think is an okay ship. On one hand, I'm kind of okay with the fact that they opted to give it its 1941 camouflage and configuration. But on the other hand, I kind of wish they would have waited until the Pennsylvania got added to the regular tech tree. The Pennsylvania, being the lead class of the ship, was actually heavily updated following Pearl Harbor. And I'm kind of excited at the prospect of seeing those added eventually, because I think they're just going to make ridiculously good anti-light cruiser and anti-aircraft platform ships, mostly because of the upgrades that were given to them. Still, though, I can't really complain. I didn't actually buy this ship. It was dropped as part of, I believe, a Christmas container. And it was nice to be able to get my hands on it. Initially, I didn't think I was going to be very impressed by it, and considering that I have the New Mexico along with its premium camouflage, and that's I like playing the New Mexico, I didn't really see any benefit to having this ship. But having played both the New Mexico and the Arizona, I can say that they're very similar in playstyles, but the Arizona is, like I said at the beginning, a bit more tanky. Now, I'm continuing to sail in effectively a straight line as I push out here, mostly just because I want to keep all of my guns pointed in the same direction. Again, this is a tip and a tactic that American battleship players at the lower tiers, below the North Carolina, really do need to incorporate into their playstyle, working on keeping all of your guns on the same side of your ship, because if you continue maneuvering hard, you're going to lose 50% or more of your firepower thanks to the slow traverse of those guns. Getting shots out there at the enemy New Mexico, shots ended up bouncing, as you can see there. It was pretty angled, so that does make sense. The team is still in the lead by a long shot. We've managed to kill their last destroyer, but you notice that our last destroyer, he's pretty low health himself, hiding in that smoke screen. And with that New Mexico closing in, given that it's got this same amount of firepower, those 12 14-inch guns, he's really going to be able to push in there, and if he gets even a bit of whiff of our destroyer, he's probably going to wreck him. Of course, there's also another friendly ship in there that's very low health as well. Now, that New Mexico does eat a torpedo from one of those ships, so he's probably not too happy about that. Hopefully he's flooding a little bit. I contemplated switching over to the high explosive here, but I opted not to. And I'm actually going to take a risk and shoot at this guy who is effectively bow on here. And hopefully I'm going to hit him. But for the most part, again, a lot of ricochets. Those 14-inch guns just don't have quite the punching power that, say, the Warspite or the Queen Elizabeth has with its 15s. Enemy carrier has finally been spotted. He's full strength, and you'll notice that he and I are both heading in the same direction. This actually makes me really, really happy because it means I don't have to change course and start heading towards the main cap. It also means I don't have to switch sides on my guns. Now, enemy carrier spotted. I get shots out while he's spotted and he's not moving. Those shots look really good. He drops off detectability, and look at that. I only managed to connect with 1 over penetration on him. What the hell was that kind of RNG on those shots? That doesn't make any sense, especially considering how accurate the rest of the shots seem to be today. Oh well. Drop off detectability again. That tells me that he's not inside detection range. There's that enemy Chapayev again. He's going to go ahead and get shots off me. He's actually going to set me on fire there. And I'm going to start taking shots at him. He's fairly low health, and combined with him and that carrier, is now the last 2 people left alive on his team. Pretty sure that carrier at this point is out of aircraft because I haven't been harassed by any. But if he does come over me with AA, like I said, the anti-aircraft on this ship is not terrible. It's not absolutely disgusting, and it can, to some degree, deal with Tier 6 and occasionally Tier 7 planes. If you find yourself bottom tier against Tier 8 planes, though, best to find a friendly cruiser or a Tier 8 battleship to go hang out next to, because that carrier player is probably going to come find you as a nice, easy, juicy target. Shots out at the carrier, managed to connect with him. Hit him hard. No citadels, though, but I did cause a lot of regular penetration damage. That makes me happy. Really kind of gunning for this guy. And mostly, not so that I can necessarily get the kill, but just because I want to do more damage. I've only done 60,000 damage, and I feel like that's just kind of a low, even being a tier 6 battleship, a bottom tier, but even still being a tier 6 battleship. So I'm going to go ahead and get more shots off. I contemplated switching back over to the Chapayev there to try and secure the kill on him. He's very, very low health. He's inside of my range, and I could, but you'll notice those shots didn't quite finish off that carrier, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to maintain my discipline on him and continue putting rounds out at him. Plus, there is a guy on the team who earns his Kraken Unleashed by killing that Chapayev. So now, as my shots get reloaded here, as we close in on the border, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get my shots off here. Very close. You can see the accuracy of those shots, very good. Come on, finish him off. Yes, secured the kill for my third kill in the game. 74,000 damage, not too bad. Considering I was bottom tier in that match, I'm okay with the end result that came about. You can see the credits earned, not too bad, 312,000 for a premium tier 6. I have honestly had better games and better earning in my Perth. Top of the team, though, for XP earned. So, even bottom tier, Arizona is a viable premium ship. Anyway, once again, 76 years ago today, a remembrance for the brave men who died aboard the Arizona and are still entombed to this day. That's it for today's video, folks. If you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, albeit not today or this week, obviously, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.